Alright, there is the latest issue of the New American Magazine from the John Birch Society. Always an excellent document to find out some stuff that's going on, especially in print form, which is definitely a nice thing to have. Just stopped in the post office here in Springboro and dropping off some stuff, take care of my daily errands. And a lady had a really cool t-shirt on. There's a quote by Davey Crockett. On the back it says, "You all can go to hell, I will go to Texas." And I complimented her on the shirt. She goes, "Oh, thanks." She's like, "I actually got trouble at work." I said, "Why is that?" "Because it said hell." She's like, "Yes." I'm like, she's like, "I can't understand that. It's a historical quote." And I said, "Well, you know," I said, "that's political correctness. They're attacking all of our American heroes and folk heroes that actually stood for something, and especially if it cost them their lives in the process." I said, "I've even heard some places citing George Washington's farewell address as hate speech because of the fact that he promotes a non-interventionist foreign policy." And I mean, so since we're not wanting to get involved in other countries' affairs, such as the Prime Directive in Star Trek, where it says that pre-warp societies are not to be entangled with because they're not up to the game yet. So leave them be and let them, you know, increase naturally. But it just shows you how much political correctness is attacking everything. I mean, our grandparents actually had heroes were American heroes. You know, Davey Crockett, for better or for worse, General Armstrong Custer. Unless you had, you know, George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt. Those used to be heroes that kids are look up to. It's not much different than Roman times. The Romans were very, very much a socially conscious society, and I say that in regards of in the family because of the fact that they always had to live up to their past. So it's so like you feel sorry for some of these celebrities' children because, you know, like a lot of times they can never compete to what their parents have done. Every now and then they might have, they might supersede their parents or at least go off in their own right and do something just as comparable or as good. For example, Kirk Douglas is a big star back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Michael Douglas is coming up. Took him a little while in the 70s, but by the 80s he was his own superstar and a big movie draw, because a lot of the good roles that he had picked and acted out very well. Still generally sought after actor, but I don't think he's taking as many roles due to his health situation and things like that, plus he's getting older. But Kirk Douglas, I think actually the last big role he had was in The Final Countdown, I think in 1980, where he was the captain of the USS Nimitz and had gone back in time, you know, a day or two before Pearl Harbor happened, which, you know, that movie brings up a very interesting scenario when you want to talk about constitutional duties and oath keepers. For example, you took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, to defend her past, present, or future, and then you take orders from Commander-in-Chief, and Martin Sheen's character says, "Franklin Delano Roosevelt." You know, it's a very interesting situation. What if you were transported back in time and had the firepower of the USS Nimitz? What do? You know, I mean, technically you're American ship of the future, and of course most of these people don't exist yet. So as soon as they found out you exist, most of the people would disappear. The Nimitz would never actually be there because of the fact that Chester Nimitz was an active duty admiral at the time. And at the same time, it's like, dude, I had this huge super future aircraft carrier named after me. You know, they would instantly disappear. But let's just say for a moment or two that you were able to go into the past and it wouldn't directly affect your future. Though the classic paradox of time is, what if you go back in time and you meet your grandfather long before he had children and you get into a fight and kill him? You would never exist. So how could you have ever existed to go back and kill your own grandfather? See, it's a classic paradox of time. So the question you got to ask yourself is, if someone were to go back in time, what would you do? Would you stay out of time, the timeline that you know of, because you could change all the mistakes made over the last 40 years? Kennedy may never be assassinated. Hell, Kennedy may never be elected had things been changed even slightly. So those are some interesting questions. Or do you just go find yourself a little island somewhere and stay out of, you know, time's way, and you know, maybe dabble a little bit, knowing that you know certain things, that you can at least have yourself a comfortable present to sit on and just relax. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what investment options were a bad idea, you go take the money, get the hell out. Those would be small ripples in time, which eventually would affect stuff, but not much. So, but interesting enough. But I thought the lady's t-shirt was very interesting, and that she received some guff for it. It just goes to show you how ignorant and how politically compliant that these people are these days, which is totally horseshit. So anyways, got another article I'm going to be putting in the Star Press, which is kind of a 1-2 punch follow-up to the one I did a couple weeks ago about HUD Secretary at the NAACP meeting forcing Section 8 housing complexes into white neighborhoods, such as Springboro, for example. Now they're saying really poorly schools that aren't even accredited in their states, which have a 98% black population rate, are now going to be bused 30 to 40 miles away to the next county or the next city over, so that way they could try to alleviate these problems. Well, a lot of the problems is the blacks have when you have a large cluster of that and running inside an inner city, and every interacting part of government is all black. They're all self-absorbed. You ever go to for example, go to Dayton Public Schools when you have a configuration of school board members that are majority black. Go in the parking lots when they have a meeting. They're all driving Cadillacs and Lexus and Mercedes. They all got the bling. They act like they're somebody. It's horseshit. Complete horseshit. They're all about materialism. And they do believe in titles of nobility in this country, which the Constitution does decry, and say that the no titles of nobility are to be... And here's the problem I have. Let's go into that topic for a second on a tangent here. I have a serious problem when someone has formerly been in a public office and they still continue to be addressed as that title, such as some people still calling George Bush President Bush. He's no longer the president. He's Citizen Bush now. His name is George W. Bush. Okay, he's no longer president. Quit talking to him like he's a demigod. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jesse Ventura. They still refer to him as governor. He's no longer the governor of Minnesota. You know, once you no longer attain that political office, you shouldn't be titled as such, because then that becomes a title of nobility. And even if you may be using it for financial gain because of the fact that you've formerly held that office or whatever. Now, if you want to say former congressman, former governor, former president, that's proper, because you're basically titling what they once held and they no longer held it. It's because I got a serious problem with these titles of nobility. Because it's like, I remember Sean Hannity on one of his shows was talking about these guys get off on just being titles such as Senator Schumer or Senator McCain or whatever the case may be. And that pansy Lindsey Graham, Grahamnesty. You know, that guy's a real piece of shit. You know, actually, interesting enough, one of the one of his contestants for that seat in the primary right now in South Carolina is, what's her name? Nancy Mace, I think it is. She was actually the first woman to be allowed in the Citadel, I think, or at West Point, and graduated also. She's got her family. She's established in South Carolina. So I think it's great that she's running against Lindsey Graham. And I really need to start looking at what these candidates stand for and start sending some money their way, because we've got to get Lindsey Graham out. I have a serious problem with a lot of these senators. They have 6 years to build up war chests, and it makes them nearly impossible to get them the hell out. Unless there's a really bad scandal, they're getting old, or they're basically, no, they don't have a chance because you have an up-and-coming upstart who's going to throw them out. Same with McConnell. We need to get him the hell out of Kentucky. It's time to retire that son of a bitch. He's totally worthless as a Senate minority leader. So we need to get some more guys. And Chris Christie, you can kiss my ass, you fat bastard, okay? Attacking Rand Paul because he's generally libertarian, you got a fucking problem in the party, dude. We see it every day. Just look in your local GOP, your county GOP, and your state GOPs, and they're all run by these party hacks who get off on just being think they're somebody just because, especially if she's a woman, has a black cocktail dress or whatever, and goes to these Lincoln Day dinners thinking they're somebody wearing all their bling and go, I'll do my best Valley Girl impression thing. I'm Miss Barbie, whatever, and yeah. Or if they can't do something in their own right, the fact that they're such and such as husband. You know, that's the problem I have, man. You know, there's a lot of women that are active in politics, in the GOP in particular, that are really their own people, regardless if they're married, single, or widowed. I mean, prime example. I have to give a tip of the hat to Kelly Coles here in Springboro. She is a wonderful inspiration for anyone who wants to achieve public office. She's principled, she's gotten results, and she's stuck to her guns, man. Now she's doing all sorts of other projects where she's finally starting to get some headway. And recently she was down in Texas at one of Glenn Beck's things on Common Core because she's becoming one of the major authorities about the topic. I think it's fantastic. She's traveled all over the great sovereign state of Ohio to try to wake people up on this topic. And not just that, but why is education failing our students? You know, sometimes she almost hits the bullseye, but she fails to really look at Charlotte Thompson Iserby's reports on how the entire Department of Education is based on the Soviet model. I keep telling her, read the damn book. You probably just read 1 or 2 chapters and it makes perfect sense. It'll connect all the dots that she's already chased after and put together herself. She could step away from the mosaic and actually see what the picture looks like. And it is what it is, a hammer and a sickle. So we need to start getting on this shit and getting on here. Now, lastly, I'm going to mention some stuff that's pretty interesting, especially groups regarding the Southern Poverty Law Center and anybody who uses them as a resource. Like I stated at the school board meeting several weeks ago, you know, someone citing the Southern Poverty Law Center is like me citing Dayton Daily News Wikipedia or Sean Hannity or Bill O'Reilly as reliable sources. Really? Are you fucking shitting me? I mean, that's just joke, man. The shit's all spin anyways. You can use it as a source. And I actually saw a really great story on CFCC.org's website about the Southern Poverty Law Center recently, where Cohen, I do believe is a Jew, is on this complete anti-hatred thing, but really when you look at it, it's actually anti-white. You look at a lot of stuff the Southern Poverty Law Center does, they attack white people and everything they stand for. I don't give a damn what general flavor you are. German, Irish, British, Italian. You know, the Italians generally a little bit more a mixed group, but generally speaking, Northern European whites in the British Isles are always a target. Always a target. Why is it that you can't go into their countries? You can't go into Muslim countries. You can't go into Hispanic countries. You can't go into other quote unquote second, third world countries and do whatever the hell you want. But you can go to any white country and do whatever the fuck you want and have no repercussions whatsoever. And when you do start raising a little dust and try to throw them out on their tail, oh no, absolutely not. You're white. You can afford it. You're the majority. You're the blame. It's always whitey's fault for slavery and greed and corporatism and everything else. It's always bullshit. And what's really sad is a lot of people on the left buy that horse shit. They really do. They think they're so cool getting their piercings and their tattoos and dyeing their hair looking like Rainbow Bright and all this other bullshit. Oh, I'd support gay people. They should love whoever the fuck they want. Blah, 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 blah. You don't understand that there's agenda behind it. And you lefties are so goddamn stupid and need to be led by the nose that you will follow any cool social thing just to feel like you're part of something. Be your own person. Pick an issue that really impassions you. And there's a lot of people on the left that I do respect. And most of their stuff that they stand for, I may not agree with at all. But there may be other things that they do that I do go, well, I'm totally 110% behind you on this particular issue. I mean, there's some people at March Against Monsanto here in Dayton. I'm a completely left dumb fucks who are, you know, there's so much about a topic they really don't know. They're actually totally ignorant to the real things behind it. I'm not attacking them totally out like you goddamn fuckers always want to go up and say, oh, you're just attacking left people. We've got to get out of this left-right paradigm. This Republican-Democrat, Coke, Pepsi, McDonald's, Burger King world, man. We've got to get out of this bullshit. That's what keeps us divided. And then really start talking about some racial issues. Why is it that black neighborhoods crime is on average 57%? You know? Why is it that whenever there's a social justice thing, like Zimmerman didn't get convicted, why is it they go and riot and go attack people? This is for Trayvon. It just reconfirms stereotypes. It really does. And it's sad because there's a lot of blacks I know that don't do that shit. They have families. They go to church regularly. And I'm not a Bible thumper. I know how many of these fuckers who attack me on this shit with the Confederate flag thing think I'm some fucking Bible thumper. I'm agnostic, man. I think Christians in general are the most hypocritical fuckers in the planet because they preach free love for all, and you should love everybody, da-da-da. But then, you know, when they go and talk to you, smiles. As soon as they walk away, they do the thing where, God, that guy's a real piece of shit. Or, you know, they sit there, talk behind your back. You know what I'm talking about. Left, right, center. You all have been a victim of it. And it doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Protestant, or whatever denomination you are. Most of the people I found, generally speaking, Christianity makes them docile. And the only way they get aggressive, unless you really piss on their yard, is if you have differences of opinion about the damn scriptures. I'm serious. I've never seen people bicker over goddamn shit that was written 2,000 years ago. Dude, were you there? Did you actually witness this guy? Did you talk to them? The church has edited the book so many goddamn times, you don't know what to believe. So that's why it's called faith. Well, I call it blind faith, because you think that's worshiping some image on a fucking wall of a guy who looks like an English lord or an English knight is going to save your ass. Bullshit. Having a good skill, be able to learn to live out in the wild, and to have the basic parameters on how to earn a living. You know, I see guys every day. You know, I remember my mother used to chastise me because I used to hang out with bikers years ago. Dude, most bikers I know are respectable tradesmen. They're mechanics. How a lot of them are lawyers, you know? Most of them are just blue-collar guys who come together because riding is a symbol of freedom. You know, despite the fact that Harley-Davidsons themselves are pieces of shit, it takes them 500 miles to break in, and you have to tighten everything back up. And actually, most of Harley-Davidson, I do believe, is owned by Kawasaki or one of these damn Japanese motorcycle companies. It's what the bar and shield stands for. I mean, to me, the Harley-Davidson logo is almost the epitome of what the American flag stands for. It's about freedom, liberty, and to do whatever the hell you want and go wherever the hell you want. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I know I'm going on a lot of different topics here, but, you know, that's just me. I'm a passionate individual. And I get tired of seeing these dumb fucks run around and thinks they know everything. And then when you bring something that is contrary to anything they believe, oh, you automatically should be chastised, you're a pariah, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something. And what's really sad is, and there's a couple people in this fucking community, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I know they're going to watch this video. You fuckers better start getting your shit together now. Because I'm telling you something. You want to promote this socialist bullshit, giving teachers all this money, unaccountable things, not questioning certain race things that goes on, such as putting section housing complexes in places like Springboro and Centerville. You better get on the shit now. Because when it actually happens and the crime rate starts going up and you can't leave your damn doors unlocked in your car or your home anymore, you're going to sit there and go, you know what, don't lie a bitch, dude, because you had an opportunity to do something before it happened. You should have said something then. Now it's too late. You don't think that when the shit was going on in Germany in the 30s that they shouldn't have said something just because they didn't want to rock the boat at all? You know, when it came after the gypsies, it came after the certain tradesmen that didn't agree with, they came after certain politicos, this, that deny the long knives, I mean, all this shit. And then when they finally come after the Jews, and next nobody says shit. Then they finally come for the Christians, and it's like what Martin Niemöller said. Dude, there was no one left to stand up for me. So you better stand up for your people now. And I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about the whole community. We are a community here, and you better start stepping up now because certain policies are going to start coming down this way. You need to watch your state house. You need to watch your county commissions. You need to watch what's going on in your city council meetings. You better start staying on top of this shit, and don't worry about what the fuck the Bengals are doing. Who gives a shit? Quit worrying about that goddamn distraction, man. Make sure you get up in there and find out what the fuck is going on in these town hall meetings and shit. When Boehner comes to town, get in his fucking face. You can never find a guy in Westchester. He always is ever elusive. You know, if I can tell you right now, if I was elected representative, I don't give a damn if it was just being a local guy, school board, on a committee. Hey, my door's open 24/7, respectively. You know, text me, call me, email me, ask me questions. I mean, that's what it's all about. If you want to represent the people, you should be easily accessible. You should not allow to be badgered, no, because there's going to be people out there who are going to badger you just because they're against everything you do, just because there's always going to be alphas and omegas. That's just the rule of the world. It's Murphy's Law. But just generally speaking, you know, someone like Kelly Cole, she's always wanting to talk to you. She takes time out of her day. I don't know how many times I've bumped into her and I see her talking to people about issues, or they're asking questions about why did you go this, why are you voting this way. She takes the time to try to explain it to you. Now, don't just sit there and go in and make a statement and walk off. You know, just because you want to attack somebody, you know, they want to talk to you. But fuck, have some decency when you talk to them. You know what I'm saying? It's complete horse shit. All right, well, the Tea Party rally debuted Thursday night at 7 p.m. Looked really good. I got a little bit of feedback already. So we're one of the only Tea Parties that actually is broadcasting a rally, so it's actually pretty good. So it gives us a little bit more of a wide scope, and plus the issues I cover are totally different than what you find in a typical Tea Party meeting. We don't talk about stupid shit about just what Boehner's doing, and we should find somebody to go against Boehner. No, fuck that. Look at what Boehner has been doing and how he can stop him from doing it. And then different ways we can pressure him, things like that. But you need to find what the hell's going on in your state. You need to know what's going on in the backyard, not just worry about Congress all the time. Find out what's going on in the State House here in Ohio. And a lot of your representatives and senators are full of shit. The only senator, arguably, that I can give any endorsement to that actually can find his butt with two hands is Chris Jordan. Honestly. He's the only one. Shannon Jones is a complete joke here. I mean, you read some of her newsletters and look at some of her stuff. She has complete contradictions. One newsletter from a few weeks ago said something along the lines of, we save money from the Bureau of Workers' Compensation Fund because we hold people more accountable, this, that, and the other, da-da-da. But on the bottom of the damn newsletter said the total opposite. Oh, we're going to be throwing another $750,000 or whatever towards education, this, that, and the other. Really? You're still throwing money in education? You're fucking stupid. It just goes to show you, man, she's so out of touch. Now, there's some things she touches on, conservative, generally speaking. If you just go by conservative values, which is a really broad slate anymore, she is on top of things. She does do her homework. But at the same time, dude, look at the shit she votes on. Again, I always bring up the fact. She voted for that exotic animal ban bill. Really? What the fuck, dude? How about gold and silver being acceptable currency in the great sovereign state of Ohio? How about nullification of Obamacare in its entirety? How about the nullification of NDAA? Where the fuck is she on that? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. She's a joke. So if she's up for election again, we need to get her the fuck out. And if she does get back in, you need to start hammering her fucking door, go to her goddamn house and say, look, lady, you work for fucking me. These are the issues we need to address. Quit worrying about stupid shit and being cool inside your party. Fuck the GOP. The GOP needs to be cleaned out and start all over again, man. This is why we've got this problem. Democrats have been infiltrated by long-in-the-tooth social liberals for a long time. They're Marxists, neo-Marxists, and complete communists. Just like the entire environmental movement has been taken over by the communists from the 80s. They had to find someplace to go. What a perfect way to go in there and start bitching about how you flush your toilet. It's death by 1,000 cuts, man. That's how they're doing it. So these are some of the things that we really need to start addressing, man. I don't give a damn who your elected representative is, local, state, county, city, whatever. Call them. Contact them. Tell them what you think. Do some research. They're too lazy or probably too busy to look at it on their own because a lot of these lower level people don't have any staff. So do the research, send them the articles, and if there is a bias, let them know there's a bias, but the pith of the information may be an article. Do the homework for them. I guarantee you will have a lot more results. Don't just badger your elected officials. Explain why you need to bring up an issue. So that's it for that. Okay, website, SpringboroTeaParty.com.org, cfccohio.org, cfcc.org, thehmd.com, sonnythomas.com, infowars.com, resistnwo.com, and 14words.net. So there's a lot of good websites and different pieces of information that you can get a hold of and find out things that's going on. But it's good to see that when you do a lot of the homework of what the left is attacking on Monsanto, they finally did the homework and listened to some of us folks who actually know what the hell is going on. So kudos to those that are, and actually there's a big march against Monsanto at their headquarters on October the 12th. I think a lot of us should definitely go there if we can, make a big brouhaha about it, camp out if necessary, and see how they try to get law enforcement to push you away. That would be an interesting, very interesting issue. If not, I know cities across America, I know there's going to be one in Dayton on October 12th, so at least in solidarity, you can do that. So if I don't go to the one at Monsanto's headquarters, I may seriously consider filming the one here in Dayton and putting on cable because of the fact that most people in the March Against Monsanto here in Dayton have the right idea. I just think the passion's right, but sometimes they get a little too emotional about the issues and not looking at it with some reason. Okay. Salancha Mahath and restore the Republic. Illuminatium delendum est. We should have elected Ron Paul.